Hi, Shub. It's so nice to have you here. And I'm really glad you could make some time to talk about your platform. We met on Reddit, and what I've seen so far is really exciting. And why don't you tell us, before we start talking about Aureal, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started working in crypto and programming and Hive? Take it from anywhere you want to go.
Hi, I'm the founder and CEO of Aureal, and I'm just going to keep the definition of Aureal to the later part. But I'm from India, and I've been working on Aureal for the past 2 years now. And before I started working on Aureal, I wasn't really a developer. Just when I thought of starting to work on this, I learned Flutter. Then before that happened, I was actually doing my research on Steam blockchain, which then I got to know that it was hard forked into Hive. An avid user of Steam and Hive, and they've generated a huge pile of money, in my opinion. And I just had an idea of why not give this alternative avenue of monetization to the podcasters, which do not really have so much amount of options to monetize their podcast. So yeah, it started from India, and we are just two developers out there who've been working on this platform, and the team consists of 5 people currently, and we're working on different departments which are required to get this company forward. But in terms of development, it has been 2 years since I had this idea, and it has been going pretty well. I thought of sharing this particular product with the community members of Reddit, and specifically slash podcasting, so that they can actually have their opinions on how this platform works and utilize this alternative marketing source to the fullest. Talking about Aureal, it's a social podcasting platform that monetizes your content without ads or sponsorships. And how it works through Hive blockchain. And to term it down in very basic human form, well, whenever your listeners upvote your content, you start generating money. And for you to actually generate value for for the podcast that you're making, you don't really need to have 1,000 subscribers or 2,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers. The first upvote you get, you start generating money instantly. So the platform is, we're trying to keep the platform very simple. And there is a huge learning curve when it comes to listeners and podcasters trying to understand how Hive blockchain works. But we just want to make sure that this platform is so simple that imbibing Hive into this podcasting culture is as seamless as possible. And you don't really need to know how Hive blockchain actually works. But yeah, it is something which is actually generating multiple revenue sources for a lot of people, not just in terms of podcasting, but there are some video content creators, and there are some people who are writing articles, and there are some people who are just playing games on Hive. We created Aureal. We just wanted to share it with the r slash podcasting community just to see if the podcasters would be interested in getting their heads into this world of cryptocurrency so that they can actually have an efficient source of monetization. So the primary focus of Aureal is to make sure that every content creator is actually financially sustainable and the content is actually discovered by as many people as possible. Because what we believe in, a novel podcaster, they spend a huge amount of time in like creating the transcript. As I've seen, you've sent me the transcript, I've read it, I'm like, okay, this guy has thought about so many questions that he wants to ask me about Aureal. It takes a lot of time. Now you'll be editing your audio, then you'll be uploading it on the platform. Well, you're putting out your voice out there, and you believe that your voice is worth something. And what's a better way of giving your voice a value than your listener supporting you by just upvoting your content? So it's just keeping it simple. One upvote, your monetization starts. So Aureal is an auditory haven for all things blissful. And yeah, there's cryptocurrency involved, there's blockchain involved, and it's futuristic but simple. So yeah, we would just want as many people to know about Aureal, and there is additional incentive. For example, if you're a listener, and if I'm your listener and I like your content and I put your content, So for when I upvote and your visibility for your content increases, I also get the curation rewards. So I in turn have the ability of generating the money just by listening to your podcast. So yeah, it's win-win situation for both the sides of the coin.
Definitely sounds like it. Oh my God, I've got so many questions. You can't see this right now, but I have a picture of your website. So people who are watching this, they can see what the Aureal .one website looks like. And going back to what you said, you started this 2 years ago, and then you've gone up to 5 people. What's your vision for Aureal? Is it just helping content creators monetize, or is it beyond? Of course, you're everywhere because you're on the blockchain. Is podcasting big in India? That's why you started with podcasting, or where are you going with Aureal? What's the plan for the future?
The trend for podcasting is increasing in India. But I remember the last time when I visited Reddit and I was just researching about audio industry in specific. So I just got to know this specific fact from a comment that platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts are not really paying a single penny to the podcasters. And right after that, the Joe Rogan deal happened, which was $100 million. And I just thought, yeah, this market is these people are actually putting a lot of effort, not getting money. And I actually thought that Spotify and Apple Podcast must be paying some. So yeah, it was an opportunity for us. And what we want to do is there is this is a very undervalued industry, podcasting industry, as compared to the video industry. You go to YouTube, these people are generating hefty amount of money. And there is such a great content out there. So the solutions which we can bring through using DEFI or implementing blockchain here can be tremendous, can be spectacular. And we had the opportunity of making it simple. But now thinking about Aureal, first we integrated Aureal with Hive blockchain, which is helping content creators monetize. But we are just not limited there. Treating this as an audio hub where you'll be having multiple sources of income, so that all you have to do is just create content and the community is valuing you. And even when you have to contribute to the podcast, you don't really have to come to audio. You just have to go to the platforms where Hive blockchain is actually integrated. So once you are creating a podcast and you're posting it, well, it is visible everywhere. So feel your podcast or anybody's podcast is actually accessible to at least 5 million people who are already there on Hive blockchain.
Nice.
So that seems to be a pretty good opportunity for any content creator whatsoever. And yeah, if you have a podcast here, your listeners are going to come and they are going to understand how this decentralized ecosystem or the Web 3.0 actually looks like and how easy it is to actually understand. Because time has gone where you were actually bombarded by the traditional financial institutions. Now the power is actually coming to the normal people like you and me. And we are creating incredible systems which are actually uh, like making people financially sustainable. Why not? So we have an option of, we are actually currently working on the discovery of the podcast. It's going to be as simple as you 15 seconds or 1 minute or 2 minute or 3 minutes of recordings of a specific episode just to see what that show actually looks like. And there is an AI algorithm at the back end which is actually generating recommendations for you. So we are taking the insights from the playbook of TikTok. We're implementing that into the podcasting industry. We're having an alternative monetary source. And yeah, it seems to be working pretty good because we've been getting such kind of feedbacks. And moreover, Aureal is not just limited to Hive blockchain. We are actually getting into Lightning Network where people will be getting V4V monetization for their episodes. We've already discussed SATs, generating SATs through the research app is actually possible. So yeah, there are actually people who are already there on Aureal who are actually monetizing in Satoshis or who are actually monetizing in Bitcoin.
Oh,
Now, we are going towards creating audio NFTs as well. So it's going to give its unique identity. And yeah, mug shops goes side by side. So we're just making sure that it's just that one platform, one hub where you just need to think about, okay, I just have to create the content. And yes, the rest of the work is actually solved for you because there is no middleman. There is nobody who is governing how your content is going to be visible to people or not. It's the people out there. It's completely democratic platform where your audience is actually valuing your content. And once they start, it's actually a chain reaction, which is never going to stop. So yeah, that is what we are actually moving forward with Aureal. So there are going to be a lot of innovations possible in the coming future. But currently, this is what it is. And the plans actually change. Actually motivated to make that this goes forward as fast as possible and as fast as possible.
okay. Sounds amazing. I've got to say, I mentioned to you on Reddit, like this is the podcast I do for the company I work for, 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, and they're a crypto company as well. But I have a podcast that I started in 2020, June of 2020. So it's been more than a year. And for us to monetize on that, we just got into monetization after putting effort and, like you mentioned before, social media, Facebook, Instagram, such a lot of effort to only get monetized after 15 months or so. So talking about monetization, like the traditional monetization is we just got a payment from PayPal, and from PayPal, we transfer it to my bank account here in Taiwan. Then I get the money. So when you get monetized on Aureal, how do you get the rupees or how do you get the dollars?
So it's very simple. So you monetize in every 7 days. You generate Hive tokens. You generate Hive tokens, and the thing is, after 7 days, what you can do is you can simply go to Binance, or you can simply just exchange your Hive tokens in exchange of any other cryptocurrency for that matter. You can go to WazirX, you can cash it, you can cash that currency out. You can do the same thing from Binance as well. And there are so many other platforms who have actually listed Hive where you can just simply cash it out. So currently, we are on the verge of having a partnership with one of the most prominent exchanges where we're going to be integrating their APIs. And when you monetize on Aureal, all you have to do is just simply click on a button, do your KYC if you have not already. And the moment you click that button, the amount of money will be automatically transferred to the platform. So the onboarding part and taking out the money that you have generated is coming out to be a little difficult for the user, but these are the pain points that we are solving and we are making it as streamlined as possible. So one click and the payment is done.
Nice. It's actually not that complicated because even here, when I first got into crypto, it's just transfer your money to Binance, exchange to USDT or USDC or whatever your currency is. Then I go to my local convenience store and get the cash if I wanted to. It's pretty easy. So that's definitely, I think it's almost the same end for the other side where it's transferred to PayPal, from PayPal transfer to my bank account, wait 6 days in all from PayPal to my bank account, from my bank account to cash, which is almost a similar pain point as well. So I think either way, it's fine for you. At the moment, looking at your website, you're focusing on podcasts, but you did mention there are video creators. You do want to do other things besides that. Is the plan for just focusing on podcasts for a year, or you basically saying, if you're a video creator, come to Aureal. If you're a podcaster, come to Aureal. Anybody can come.
And there are actually some video podcasts out there which are already available on Aureal. So if it's a video, the video will play. But on Hive ecosystem, there are many other platforms which supports specifically video. So 3Speak is one of them. And we are partnering with 3Speak with the Speak network that they're currently building. So what's going to happen is if you want to watch video, you'll be able to watch them 3Speak as well as on Aureal. And if you want to listen to audio specifically, Aureal is already there. We are not just limited to the audio content. And we've currently recently made the hosting service of, yeah, you can upload the videos and you can see it for yourself. And if you want to see how 3Speak looks like, you can just simply go to 3speak.co and you'll be able to see an ample amount of people already monetizing their videos. So just like it happens on YouTube, it happens on 3Speak, but only better.
Very cool. Going back to the idea about Hive, I asked you this on Reddit and you answered me already. But just for people who listen to this podcast and people who are going to watch it, I know what Hive is because I got into blockchain in 2017. Do you want to tell people why, with all the hotness around Solana and Ethereum and Avalanche, why Hive, why using this instead of any other solution?
The starters, for the starters, we thought it was easy. And the second thing was that there was no transaction fees involved. And we have been following this community for so long. And one of us, one of the developers that we have, are already the core members of Hive development community. We are actually witnessing the kind of developments that are happening in Hive blockchain so far. And there are so many things that are already developed in Hive blockchain, which the social media ecosystem actually needs. For example, if you are on Aureal, you cannot release spam. There are resource credits associated with it. So you cannot release spam, you cannot be, it's censorship resistant and it has free speech, but you cannot overdo something. You cannot exploit the platform. And the second thing is that it is already, it has been very brutally tested for more than 5 years now. Started in 2017, properly started in 2016, but it has been tested so far pretty properly. And it has been through a hostile takeover, it has been through a hard fork, and there have been so many failures, so many mistakes in this ecosystem that the community actually knows what to do and what not to do. So there is absolute proper governance, which is actually coming out there. And most of all, this blockchain, this social blockchain properly and specifically caters to the content creators. So, well, this thing is actually legit for the content creators as compared to any other blockchain. But as we said, we're just not limited to Hive blockchain so far. If there are some other blockchains which are able to give at least at par services in terms of to the content creators in generating the value for their work, we have the option of integrating that. Yes, yes. So what we just want is that it's just a platform which gives you a portfolio of cryptocurrencies so that you can monetize. It's as simple as that. So
Okay.
if some blockchain is giving us that option, if some blockchain is making that easier, Hive is already there. DTube was existing a little back. It is still existing, and they have integrated Avalon blockchain and Hive blockchain as well. So yeah, there are people who are generating money from multiple sources of income, and on Aureal, Hive tokens are already there, SPD is already there, and now Sats and Bitcoin, multiple cryptocurrencies in your portfolio based on the content that you are making. And the best part is that it's free for everyone. You don't have to pay, you can earn. And yeah, if you want to pay, you can pay. Or it's completely at your discretion. Nobody is asking you to do it. And when you overdo stuff, if your resource credits are depleted, for example, there is a specific resource credit for 1 week. Now, if you just keep on commenting and committing, obviously those things are going to be depleted. But these resource credits replenish 20 day. So by the end of the week, you already have 100% resource credits. So you can actually post on a constant basis and your content is going to be appreciated if the community actually likes it. Just in case if you actually put some content about hate speech, which consists of hate speech, how the community actually reacts. So yeah, you won't be having that option of monetizing because your content is not really appreciated by the community. But if your content is good, the community is more than happy to help you generate the rewards. And I've seen people generating like $46 by just one upvote.
That is impressive.
Yes.
$46 is pretty good for just an episode.
Yes. Right. And it's not like just a $46 is actually a part of the total monetization that is happening from just one episode. So I published an article on Hive, and the amount of money that I ended up generating was $158 in
Oh,
small 3 days. So it actually works. So even if the platform you think is simple, or even if then the platform is shitty, it's actually working.
that's the thing. It doesn't matter for a lot of people with coronavirus and COVID around, and people are working from home or don't have a job. This is a thing to be able to earn a little bit of money, like you saw in the news, right? With people using Axie and Affinity to make money and play to earn that sort of stuff. So people could be podcast to earn and have some money to live on. That's a good thing that you're doing, which is fantastic. I I spoke to this because I have on my personal podcast, a gaming podcast, I have 3 other co-hosts, and I'm like, the guys are like, this is impossible. Like, how do you get free cake? So I have to ask this question: is where you guys getting the money from?
The money, the considerable amount of money has already been accumulated from the initial coin offering that happened on Steam blockchain, and the similar thing that happened on Hive blockchain as well. Now the thing is, this money, every single week there is new tokens which are minted from the witnesses of Hive blockchain, and when these tokens are minted, it has to be distributed among the people. So there is a specific slab of tokens which are distributed among the content creators and the content curators. And there is another part of it which is distributed in DHF, which is responsible for making sure that constant innovation happening in Hive. As the initial offering actually happened, there are multiple use cases of Hive tokens where people are actually accepting Hive tokens for payments. And there is already a market which is making sure that token actually has a price, because Hive tokens are actually getting traded right now. Now the thing is, Hive token has a variable amount of value, and there is Hive backed dollar, which is supposed to be, and which is actually very stable. Okay. So the thing is, every single time when you generate some money in terms of Hive tokens, what happens is that money is corresponding to or directly proportional to the value which the market is actually generating. Now, when you cash out, you actually sell those tokens to somebody else, and those tokens are actually utilized in the Hive ecosystem on multiple applications that you may use. And that is how there is a creators economy actually present. That is Hive blockchain, and podcasting is just a part of it. So the usability of this token actually gives the value to this token. And when you generate this token with your content, that is how you are monetizing. So in simple words, what is happening is you create the content, and you generate money in terms of stock vesting options. And it depends on you when you want to vest that. If you want to sell those stocks on the stock market, well, you get the money out first. If you want to wait for it, you can get more money out of it. But either way, you're getting something out of it. And you're not investing money. It's just investing your time and effort and the content that you want to create and the things that you like to do. So I believe that is the best thing that is happening. And I believe that I must have explained how the money is coming from properly. I hope.
You did. It's basically it's like a inside a circular ecosystem. You covered it all very well. And I think especially if people want to read more about it, they could probably look up Hive tokenomics or something like that. That stuff is easily Googleable online.
You can just read the white paper. You can just go to the website hive.io.
Yes.
So that I'll have to write a lot of articles on Hive, but I just don't miss a lot of information about.
Very nice. Now, moving on to your side for real, how are you? Because you guys we're getting paid as podcast creators, right? Or video creators from people who upvote our stuff. And there are resources within the Aureal ecosystem, like you mentioned, 20% per day. And that can come back to us if people like us. If people don't like us, we don't get anything, which is perfect. The market should decide who is popular, not just some company like YouTube or Google or Facebook. So what about you? What's the plan? So if I'm going to do this anyway, no matter what you say, because I think what you're doing is really cool. So I'm going to put my podcast on Aureal for sure. And I definitely, whoever's listening and watching, there are a few people who run podcasts who do listen to this show. I suggest you guys do that as well. If I upload my podcast today, regardless of what you say right now, I mean, how are you making money in the future? How are you making money now? How are you going to make money in 3-4 years? Are you going to charge the creators a fee in 2 to 3 years saying, hey, if you guys want this, do that? I used a service called 𝕠𝕚𝕤𝕤 for writing blogs and stuff. And they do the sort of the similar thing where you write something and people upvote and you get some money from that. And I know they earn money from advertising as well. Are you just going to be advertising? Is that your revenue stream in the future?
So we don't really believe in ads that much, but we definitely gonna find you some sponsors. And monetizing through Hive, you always have an option of sharing that revenue with anybody you want. For example, if you have a partner who has a Hive account and you're putting this podcast, so you can actually decide what's the percentage of money that is going to go to you, and what's the percentage of money that is going to go to him. We're not keeping. It's not a compulsion, but there are several members in the Aureal community who are actually doing that, who are actually giving us some money, who we feel are donating right now. What they simply do is they just put us at as 8% beneficiaries. So the money comes from there, which is actually able to help us sustain right now, but it's not enough. Monetizing through Hive, and there are several other features which are going to be, which are already there on Hive, which are already there on Aureal, and there are going to be several more features which are going to come. So we are going to be keeping this in terms of freemium and the premium model. So that is where the revenue model is going to come. And we would be making sure that we diversify it as much as possible. But the basic needs that are required by any podcaster, we're going to be keeping it free. So monetizing through Hive, it's going to be free for everyone through Aureal. And yes, if you wanna give us some money for the work that we're doing, well, we are always waiting for it. But if you don't want to do that, it's completely your choice. But monetizing through Hive is not the only feature that we have. If you think that this feature is cool, there is a surprise coming for you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I think like the way you described it, it's very much humble bundle where you buy something from them and you have an option of giving something to charity and they get some money as well. And I think that's 8% is nothing. Even like I pay for my podcast, I pay $15 a month to host. Yeah. So that's $15 a month. That's a whole bunch of rupees, and not to mention Hive dollars and stuff. I'd be willing to pay the same thing for Hive. And when I'm paying my podcast host, I'm not getting any money. I'm just giving them money. So if I pay Aureal to host my podcast and I'm getting some money back from that's why not? Uh, yeah. So moving on from the way you guys want to monetize it and surprise is coming in the future. One thing I want to say about your site is it's really simple, which is what I love. I think a lot of podcasting hosts have so many options and so many things, and you have to spend like a lot of people, like my two other co-hosts, they just want a podcast. They don't want to look at stats and analytics and all this other stuff. And when you upload, you have to write all this stuff. And your site's it's discoverable, and not to mention about it being on the blockchain is all verifiable by being on a blockchain as well. Shub, before we end off today, just 2 or 3 more questions. Um, you guys are operating out of India as well, and one thing I did want to ask you is how's the regulation regarding crypto in India? Do you anticipate the Indian government becoming more strict? Is that going to affect your business, or do you think it's going to be clean sailing?
Well, we I actually had this idea in 2018, and that is when the RBI imposed a ban on cryptocurrencies. And then the ban actually went off in 2019 or 2020. And the statistics actually show that there are more crypto holders in India than anywhere else in the world.
Oh,
So, well, you want to regulate crypto or you want to be strict about crypto, I would really wish the government best of luck. The second thing is we are actually approaching a number of people in the parliament are telling them about what this platform is. And we are actually exploring the avenues where high blockchain will be implemented in education sector. So just imagine this situation where you get money to the teachers are actually getting paid because they're creating the content. They want the students to actually learn something and you're getting the curation rewards. Like these are monetary rewards. So if I'm a student and I'm learning something new and yeah, this platform is paying me money, what an incredible thing that is going to be for a country for that matter. So
definitely.
yeah, exploring some avenues out there, and there are some people who are actually supporting us who are a part of government as well. So it's going to be a little difficult, but we all in 2018 when this thing actually happened, you never know when this can happen again. Strategy in place where we the company can actually move to some other country where the laws are pretty flexible, because either way this ship has to sail.
Oh, of
If,
course.
if we are having restrictive people are imposing restrictions on like the content creator generating money, well, we don't want to be in that country. We want to support the content creators, and we can do it by being wherever we want.
Oh, yeah.
So it's simple as that. So we start in India, and we're going to be incorporating the company in multiple places where the laws are pretty flexible, so that the creators can get the value for their voice. And yeah, we don't face any problems, because the last time I remember, Unicoin was one of those startups which was which was actually scrutinized because they used the word Bitcoin ATM.
Oh,
So the founders and co-founders had to spend 2 or 3 days in jail.
oh, no.
And, and the next thing I remember is that they shifted their company to Malta. Okay, and we are done in India. It was simply a crypto quiz where you can actually get the information. It's just because they used the word ATM, the government was like, the police was like, okay, you do not have the position of putting out an ATM anywhere you want. So let's go to the police station. Let's answer for the questions that we ask. And yeah, we are asking you questions, but obviously we are not going to understand what you actually say, because we don't understand the very basics of how this monetary system works. We do not understand what money actually is. It's something which separates the people who believe in crypto and the people who just think that crypto is a scam. If somebody is asking me, crypto is shit, crypto is this, crypto is that, my immediate question is that, okay, just tell me how this fiat currency is so good. Just tell me, because the people who know what cryptocurrency is, they all know that monsters, monstrosity actually came from the monster of Jekyll Island, the Federal Act. And in, during the Vietnam War, we now know that US dollar is backed by nothing, and most of the currencies are actually holding a huge pile of US dollars in their reserve. If US dollar goes down, the world economy is fucked.
Yes.
And it's the satellite authorities who are actually making that happen. Why do you want to do that? Why don't you want to distribute the centralized power into the decentralized ecosystem? Why don't you believe in democracy, right? Why don't you want the opinions of normal people to actually be executed through the free will? That is what this crypto ecosystem stands for. And whenever there is an information lag, obviously there are going to be people who will be capitalizing this in the wrong sense. But it's not the rest of the community. You have to know what's working and what's not. And for that, you need to know what that is. And before you want to know what crypto is, just understand the basics of your monetary system, which you are currently using. Because it's nothing, it's the biggest scam of the century, or the biggest scam of humanity. Yeah, best of luck. I believe in crypto. I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of people who will do that. And it's a new technology that is coming into existence, and there is always a technology adoption curve. There are always going to be early adopters. There are always going to be a crowd we should be following. And the people who are following it the last are always going to be users. I mean, the last one out there. So it happens every single time. Well, the centralized monetary system came into existence where people were like, okay, this system is shit because barter system actually works right now. When central banking system came into existence, they were like, okay, the normal banks are actually working properly. So it's similar, something gonna happen with crypto as well. It's
Definitely.
for the better because you are decentralizing the power. And when you decentralize the power, the chaos happens, but there is always an equilibrium. And that equilibrium is always for the better.
Definitely. Yep. Thank you so much for your time. Before we go, for people who are listening and people who are watching the YouTube video, um, where can they follow you on Twitter or Instagram? Or are you on social media at all? Or just follow you on Reddit? Or where can people follow Aureal as well?
Well, you can follow Aureal on Twitter. You can follow Aureal on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And if you want to follow me, you can. My username is 𝔸𝕦𝕤𝕤. So just write that down anywhere you want. You're gonna see my ugly face, and you can follow me.
Okay, so I will make sure to include all the socials for Aureal and for you as well. I'll also double check with you after the show so that if people do want to follow you and keep up to date on your project, I'm going to be doing that as well. And that they can just follow you on social media as well. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Yes, Aureal is open source. So if you want to contribute, you can.
Oh, nice. Open source. I will mention that as also. Aureal is open source. So any aspiring programmers out there, please, yeah, contact Shub and see if you can contribute or help. That would be awesome. All right, Shub, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This was so interesting, and I'm so excited to. I have to tell a few other people after we get off the show, and hopefully we can catch up next year sometime and see how things are going with Aureal and what's the progress has been. And if you want to say anything else or what's news coming, we can catch up next.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.